Have you ever heard of the Sodder children? It was Christmas Eve of 1945 in Fayetteville, West Virginia. The Sodder family, which consisted of George, Jenny, and 9 of their 10 kids, had just finished celebrating. 5 of the children, Maurice, Martha, Louis, Jenny, and Betty, asked to stay up late and play with some of their new toys. Their mother had agreed, as long as they remembered to turn off the lights and lock the door when they were done. Around 1 in the morning, Jenny woke up to the sound of something hitting their roof, followed by a loud thud. And moments later, she began to smell smoke. The house was on fire. George and Jenny escaped with 4 of their children, but the other 5 were still inside, or so they had thought. George tried to go back in, but the staircase was already completely in flames. His ladder that was normally kept right beside the house was missing and was later found in a ditch. He decided he was going to have to drive one of his trucks up by a window so he could stand on the roof and go in, but neither of his trucks would start either. He couldn't call anyone because the phone lines were cut. So he decided to smash a window, burning his arm in the process, but anything to save his kids. But upstairs was completely unreachable. Within 45 minutes, the home was completely reduced to ash. The fire department didn't arrive until 8 a.m. When they searched through what was left, they found no bones or any remains. There was absolutely nothing to indicate the 5 children had died in the fire. Something really weird was going on here. There was a woman who'd claimed she'd seen the missing children peering out of a car window that night. On top of that, a waitress in a nearby town said that she served them breakfast the next morning. The official cause of this fire was faulty wiring, but the lights stayed on during the whole thing, so to me, that just doesn't seem right. A few months after the fire, one of the remaining daughters, Sylvia, found an object in the yard while playing, and one of their oldest sons, who had been in the military, identified it as some sort of incendiary grenade. This is believed to be what Jenny heard hitting the roof that night. There are just so many weird things here that lead people to believe this whole thing was intentionally done, including the Sodders, who believed their children had been kidnapped. They put up billboards along Route 16, begging for information, and they never gave up hope. Despite this, the 5 Sodder children were never seen again. Decades after this event, George did receive a photograph in the mail of a man who was believed to be Louis Sodder. He was older, but alive and well. Have you ever heard of the Menendez Brothers? On August 20th of 1989, a 911 call came from a mansion on Elm Drive. 21-year-old Lyle Menendez was sobbing on the phone, saying someone had murdered his parents. Have a listen.
What's the problem? What's the problem? What's the problem?
Someone killed my parents.
Pardon me?
Someone killed my parents.
What? Who? Are they still there?
Yes.
The people...
No.
Inside, Jose and Kitty Menendez were found shot multiple times in their den. Lyle and his younger brother Eric told police they'd gone to the movies that night and had no idea what happened. Soon after that, they were spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on either designer clothes or luxury condos, just loads of expensive stuff. And police started to suspect that something was going on. You'd think these boys would be grieving. This is about the time that the tapes came into the equation. Eric had confessed to a psychologist about what him and his brother had done. That confession, which was secretly recorded, revealed that the brothers had killed their parents themselves. But the twist here is that they claimed it wasn't for the money. It was because their father had been abusing them since childhood, and their mother had always looked the other way. In 1996, they were convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life without parole. And for nearly 3 decades now, they've remained behind bars. But the story doesn't end there. In 2023, a letter that Eric wrote in 1988 came to light. It mentioned the abuse long before the murders ever actually happened. That, along with new witness statements and a fresh wave of public interest, led to a push for resentencing under California's new laws for abuse victims. Now, in 2025, their legal team is fighting to have their convictions reduced to manslaughter. A resentencing hearing has been scheduled, but it's been postponed after the district attorney argued the abuse claims were just complete lies. The judge is supposed to reconsider the case next month on May 9th. Have you ever heard of the Betts House in West Virginia? Locals say it used to sit along the Little Kanawha River just outside Grantsville. It was an old one-story home owned by a man named Collins Betts. At least that's the name that's most often recorded. Some versions of the story call him Cale. It's possible that the name changed over time, like a lot of details in old stories that get passed down through generations. But either way, the house he lived in became infamous. Neighbors always talked about the strange noises and shadows that were seen even when no one was there. One of the most well-known stories goes a little something like this. A traveling peddler was said to have knocked on the Betts' door one stormy night in the late 1800s, though he would never make it off the property. Rumors spread that he'd been carrying over $1,000 in cash, and he was murdered and buried somewhere on the property. I mean, $1,000 back then is like $25,000 today. People have died for a lot less. Not long after this, people started hearing chains dragging across the floorboards, even when the house was completely empty. Some others claimed to have seen a headless figure standing at the foot of the bed, or pacing near the well out back. Even horses refused to go near this place. The local kids in the area actually used to dare each other just to walk past it after dark, but most wouldn't even look in the direction of the home after dark. Eventually, the Betts family had enough and they moved out. The house was torn down and the road that once led to it was completely rerouted. But the stories didn't go away. In fact, they only became more popular. Even today, some folks say they can still hear moaning on quiet nights near where the house used to be. No one ever proved the peddler even existed. No body was ever found, but nearly everyone in Calhoun County has heard of the Betts house, and most won't go anywhere near where it used to be. There's something really weird about those two kids missing in Nova Scotia. 6 days ago, on May 2nd, in Lansdowne Station, Nova Scotia, 6-year-old Lily Sullivan and her 4-year-old brother, Jack, had been playing in their home on Gairloch Road. By the time their mother, Malaya, and stepfather, Daniel Martel, woke up, they were nowhere to be found. Malaya called 911 at around 10 in the morning. The family immediately searched the yard and the nearby woods, but neither of the kids were found. They had, however, spotted a single child's boot print, which, of course, was a large breakthrough. Soon after that, over 160 trained volunteers, helicopters, drones, and even police dogs were brought in on this search, using that boot print as a starting point. And for 5 days, the search stretched across roughly 4 square kilometers of Pictou County, but there's been no clues found as to where they have went. The RCMP has also said that there's no evidence of foul play or abduction, but many, including the children's family, believe that someone may have taken them. A very large amount of people on TikTok and other platforms, however, are suspicious as well, but not of somebody taking them. They are mainly leaning towards the stepfather, Daniel, as they pointed out that something in his interviews just felt a little off. So here's a quick clip so you can see for yourself.
That's pink boots for Lily, blue boots for Jack with dinosaurs on them. Lily had her backpack with white, and it was white with strawberries on it. I imagine now if they're in the woods that it'd be probably brown, but I don't see them carrying their backpack. I don't see them keeping a pull-up one for that long after it got soaked from the very first day. We only found the 2 boot tracks outside of the house.
Whereabouts?
Right beside the house, probably 10 feet away from the backyard.
In the backyard, okay.
The family has pleaded for authorities to widen and continue the search, but as of yesterday, they have decided to scale it back.
As of today, May 7th, the active search efforts to locate Lily and Jack will be scaled back. We're transitioning from a full-scale search to searches of more specific spaces that have already been searched by our teams. We want to circle back to increase the probability that all clues have been found.
The only thing left now is the community's determination to keep looking for these kids. As of today, May 8th, Lily and Jack Sullivan remain missing, but I will keep you guys updated on this ongoing investigation.